Have you ever wanted to create an online course that looks clean, works on any device, and is easy to navigate? And you're probably wondering how to actually do that as someone who's just started on their journey of creating online courses. What if I told you that there's actually an easy way that you can do that using Articulate Rise 360? And this platform is actually very beginner friendly. So if you're someone who's never used any kind of online tools or softwares to create online courses, I think you're gonna like this tutorial. So stick around because I'm actually gonna walk you through how to create your first online course using Articulate Rise 360. And we're gonna go through the steps of how to go from a blank screen to an interactive course. And I'm also gonna cover some tips and tricks on how to make that course accessible for all learners. Hi, welcome to Somo Experiences. My name is Irene Sedede, and today we're going to go through how to make a course using Articulate Rise 360. And this platform is one of the simpler softwares where you can actually make your course content accessible, easy to navigate, and also really interactive. And it's also very easy to use for you as a designer. One of the great things about Articulate Rise 360 is that it's a web-based tool, so you don't need to download anything onto your desktop. You can easily log into your Articulate profile and you're able to use Rise 360 online. And another great thing about a course design from Articulate Rise 360 is that it can be accessed through mobile, phone, tablet, literally everywhere. And it's one of those tools that you can use for school projects, corporate training, or even to teach people how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but I actually did a whole course using Articulate Rise 360 on how to create a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And if you're interested to see that course, I will actually link it down in the comments just so you can get a feel of what exactly that looks like. Because I'm pretty sure you're wondering, don't people know how to put together a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? You would actually be very surprised. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this tutorial. So to create your course in Articulate Rise 360, you want to log into rise.articulate.com, or if you are on your Articulate homepage, log into your account using your credentials and you will see a tab with the dashboard and Rise 360. You want to make sure you've selected Rise 360, and then from here you will see different options available. If you have the app downloaded on your desktop, you can open that up as well. Make sure you're logged in, and then you can launch Rise 360 right at the bottom where it says web. So you're now in Articulate 360 and you're in the Rise 360 tool. Let's go ahead and create a new course. To create a new course, select Create New, and here you have the option of either creating a course that is blank or using course templates, and then you have the option of micro learning. Let's take a look at some of the course templates that are available to know what it looks like. If I selected course templates, displayed are some different templates that are available, and you can filter them based on compliance courses, customer success, health and wellness, and so forth. In this case, let's play around with the health and wellness to see some of the templates that are available in that category. And I'm just going to go with how to create an employee wellness program. And if I was to preview the course, this is what the example course would look like. And if the learner was to go through it and they selected start course, there is the different lessons that they can go through. And here there is a video that has been added, and there are bullet points as well. There are different flip cards. The great thing about templates is that this is a quick way for you to see how a course is developed and designed, and it is already done for you. So what you want to do is just go in there and make the necessary edits that you prefer. And then you are able to preview that template course in different formats. So if you wanted to see it in tablet portrait, you can also see how it looks. If you wanted to see it in mobile view, if for instance you did like that specific course, you'd select it, and then from there you're able to edit the content within that specific template. All right, now that we've gone through how to select a template, let's go into the blank course option. And here you will see a completely blank page or a canvas, like I like to call it, where you can actually start building your course. Something you want to note is that you want to make sure that you have a storyboard and a design document that's already laid out. That way you know exactly how you want your course to be built, especially if you're not going to use any kind of templates. So for my specific course today, I'm going to be designing a course on tea. I think that would be a fun topic to use as a course example. So one thing I want to do is make sure that I'm changing the course title. And then I do have the option where I can either display my name as the author or I can hide that. Next, you want to add the description of your course and then add a lesson title. And if I select Shift and Enter at the same time, I can add my second module title for that course. All right, so I've added my module titles in there, and you can actually select Enter to add content to that specific module. And when I select that add content, I can either create a lesson or create a quiz. Let's go ahead and create a lesson. So when we select create lesson, what will be shown is the module name or the module title, and then you have the ability to add your first block. And the great thing is that you can stack different types of content, almost like Legos, to build a course that looks awesome and that's also very interactive, and adding accessibility elements in there to make it accessible for all learners. And now we're going to get into how you can add each type of content and what it's great for. Let's start with text blocks. Text blocks are a great way to explain things. And in the block library, you'd select that text box and it will add that in there. And a great thing about Articulate Rise is that they do have an AI feature which you can utilize, and here you can edit your text with AI, which can make it faster for you to build your course content. But if you want to customize your course, you'd want to select the pencil icon that says content, and here you can make your edits as needed. Added my text with the heading and also the paragraph. If I wanted to change that, I could select the drop down arrow, and here I can either just change it to be only a paragraph, add a paragraph with a subheading, change the format so it shows up as columns, add a statement, or I could add a note. Now let's get into adding lists. So if I was to select list in the block library, it will automatically add a list into my course, and again I would edit that with the information that I want to provide to the learner. I do have the option to also change how I want the list to show up. If I want it to be a numbered list, it will show as numbered. If I want it to be a checkbox where the user can check each box of that list, that can be done as well. And if I wanted to change it to bullet points, I could also add that as a bullet point. So when it comes to the block library, there are different ways that you can access that. You can either access that through the bottom of your last block that you added, or when you hover over two different blocks, there is going to be that plus sign icon that you can select, and then the block library list will show up on the left hand side of the screen. In this case, let's go ahead and add statement C right in the middle right there, and I'm going to edit that as well. And one thing to note is that when you're adding text to your content, if you were to highlight different areas, you can change the format. For instance, if you want it to be bold, italicized, if you want to change the color or add a link, you can edit that way. Something to note is that if you want to change how the text is being displayed, you can select styles, and here you can change how the style of that block is going to show. For instance, if I want it to be light, if I want it to be a lighter gray than the dark gray, if I want it to be black, I have that option. And then you also have format where you can change the format of how you want the content width to show or display. The padding of the block can be small, medium, large. Right, now that we've added text blocks, let's get into image blocks. Image blocks are a great way to show examples for your learner. So from the block library, if you select image, there will be different options that will be displayed, and if we go through image centered, you will have the image which will be centered on the screen. If you wanted to change that to full width, image with text, text on image, a carousel which will take the learner through different images that you've added, 3-column grid images or 4-column grid images. For this example, let's go with image centered. Now I want to change that image to fit the theme of my course. You can either upload an image from your desktop, replace it with an AI generated image, or replace from the content library. I will replace it from the content library. And I'm going to search for an image that is related to tea. And I do want to make sure that I'm adding alternative text to that image. That way it is accessible for all learners. And you will see ALT, which is alt, that is added in there, so you know that you've added alternative text for that image. Now that we've added an image into our course, let's go ahead and add multimedia. Now, when it comes to multimedia, there are things such as video blocks that you can add into your course to make things more fun and engaging. When you select the block library, there is that multimedia tab, and if you select that, you have the option to add audio, video, you can embed a video, attach a file, or add a code snippet. If I wanted to add audio, and here you'd have the option to edit that content and upload a recording that you already have, or start recording directly through Rise 360. You can also add a video into your course. And then if you were to edit that, you can either replace the video that is automatically added into the course. You can replace that video with something that you already have available. And then you also want to make sure that you're managing closed captions to make it accessible for all users. The other option is to embed a video. If you were to select edit, you can change that video that is automatically shown in there by pasting a URL or iframe code here. So in this case, I did find a great YouTube tutorial on how to make a pot of tea. So that video has been embedded, and when I hit play,
here's how to make a good cup of tea.
As displayed, the video started playing, and then it does have the captions that do show as well. Let's go ahead and add a quick knowledge check to see if the learners are fully engaged with the course content, and also to test some of their learning. A great way to test learning is by adding knowledge checks to your course. And in Rise 360 within the block library, if you select knowledge check, there's the generate AI knowledge check. There's multiple choice, multiple responses, fill in the blank options, matching, and then draw from question bank. If I selected multiple choice, there would be a multiple choice question that is added in there. And let's say I edited that content to fit this course. It would have the question, and then you can indicate which one is correct. And within the feedback section, I can select either any response, correct or incorrect, or by choice. And then you can change if you require for there to be a correct answer in order for them to continue through the course, or if you want to reveal the correct answer for them. And then you can add how many retries you want. Another great item that you can add into your course in Rise 360 are dividers. So dividers are a great way for you to have your course content divided between different blocks, or you can add things such as a continue button. When the user selects continue, they would go to the next item within that course. So if we edited that, select the completion type for that button. And then another thing is that you can change the label. So instead of continue, you can change that to next. I actually like continue, so I'm just going to keep it as continue. Another great element that you can add into your course is charts. In the block library, if you select chart, you can either add a bar chart, a line chart, or a pie chart into your course. And this is also another great way to display information for your learner. A huge component of creating an interactive course within Articulate Rise 360 is using interactive features. In the block library, under the interactive tab, you can add an accordion. Another great interactive element that you can add to your course is labeled graphics. And this is a fun way to have your learners engage and interact with the content. You can label different items within your course by adding hotspots to an image. And if the user was to select the hotspot, it would show item 1. So to edit that image, what I would do is scroll down, select edit, and then replace from content library. And as you As shown, that image changed to different types of tea, and I can move those markers by simply dragging them where I want them to be placed. So this is a great interactive element to add to your course. The other interactive element you can add is a process. If I wanted to give the learner the process of how to prepare tea, for instance, I can add that into the course, and it would give them a step-by-step walkthrough on how to do so. I can edit the introduction, the different steps, and the media that I'm adding in there, and then add a summary of the process of making that cup of tea. So scenario blocks are a great way to display learning through real life choices. So if a learner was to navigate through a scenario block, it will take them through different scenarios with different options that they can select. And there are characters that are added in there with different feedback that they provide, as well as facial expressions to make it more relatable and engaging, and also more fun to interact with within your course. So let's go ahead and edit this scenario block so that we're matching it to the theme of the course. First thing I want to do is edit the background. So I've changed the background to like a tea shop type of setting, and then I want to edit the character. Now characters, I find this to be so much fun. So with the characters, you can choose between business casual, casual. You want a male or female character, or if you have a specific age range, Eamon is a good example. So I'm just going to click him. Oh, look at Eamon. And you can change the scene title so that it's not just showing as scene 1. You also have the option of changing that character's. So if you don't want them to have a neutral expression, you can have them looking like they're asking a question or talking, looking confused. And then you can change the text to display either as dialogue or text. You can hide the character if you prefer. And then for accessibility purposes, just make sure you're describing the scene and what the scene is displaying. So if we go back to that scenario, this is what it would look like. If the learner was to go through the course and they selected their option, the character's expression did change. If they went to continue and they selected the next option, the expression changes again, and usually you want to match that expression to the feedback that you're providing. Another interactive element that you can add is a sorting activity, and here they're able to sort the items accordingly. If you edit that, you can change the category to something like do's and don'ts. If they were to put item 2 in the do's section, if it's wrong, it would go back, and if they were to put it in the don'ts, it would show as correct with that symbol. And they also have the option to try again. Now let's get into timelines, and you can also edit that so it can show the actual specific date and what that event title is, the information. We can add media either as an image, a video, and also as an audio file. The other interactive element you can add are flashcards, and you can either add a flashcard grid or a flashcard stack. And with the flashcards, what you can do is edit that content how you'd like it to display. So the first card, if you want it to be text, an image, or a full card image, and then you can edit what is showing at the back. If they were to flip those cards, this is what it would appear as, and that is how you add flashcards to your course. Up next is buttons. You can either add an individual button or you can add button stacks. So with those buttons, you can customize it to fit where you'd like to direct your learners to. The other interactive element that you can add is quotes. You want to make sure that your quotes are related to your course content. So if I was to select quote B, for example, this is how it would display. I can add the image of whoever that quote was for, or I can go ahead and edit that and just remove it all together. So that is how you can add different elements within your course. Let me show you how to actually move things around, copy things, delete them if you'd like, and so forth. So if I wanted to move this quote a little bit higher within my course, there is the move up and move down button. I'll just move it up. And then if I wanted to delete an item, I just delete that block right there. You also have the ability to copy and paste. So if I wanted to copy this list, I just duplicate it and then it would duplicate right under. Let's go ahead and change the color theme for this entire course. Right in the beginning of the course where it says theme, I'd select theme right at the top. And then here I'd go to colors, and then there are some themes that are already set within Articulate, and you can go ahead and select them right there, or you can customize it. Let's go ahead and change the cover page. Now with the cover page, you have different options that you can go with. I'm going to hit edit so that I'm replacing that image first and then adding the alternative text after. And I've replaced the image and added the alternative text. If I was to go back, I'd go to the navigation tab, and here you're able to choose how you want the learner to see the navigation tab. I can keep it as sidebar, or I can choose overlay, so it would overlay and this is what it would be displayed as. Select buttons. I can choose how I want the buttons to be displayed as well, or if I want to take that out altogether. You can also change the font, and this is a great thing to do for accessibility, especially because you want to make sure that you're choosing fonts that are considered accessible. And then I want to change the theme again. So there is the Rise theme where it would look this way, or there is the Apex theme, and then there is the Horizon theme. In this case, I want to go with Apex, and then I will select save, confirm. And now that I've changed the different items within the theme, let's go ahead and preview the course. So before sending out your course to anyone, you want to make sure that you're previewing it so that it looks how you intended for the learner. If you select preview right at the top, here is an example of what the course is going to look like for your learner. As they navigate through it, they can get the introduction, and then they can see the different modules or lessons in the course. They can also start the course right at the top. And as they go through the course, this is what it's going to look like for the learner. Now, within the preview, another thing that you want to check is how exactly is this going to look like in different display modes. So if you want to see it in tablet portrait, if the tablet was in mobile portrait, and if it was in mobile landscape. Now it's time for you to share your course. When you're sharing your course, when you select share, you have the option to either share the preview link, or you can invite people to collaborate. So you'd add the person's email and then invite them to collaborate. And then you can also publish it to Reach 360, so you can distribute and also track this course for groups of learners, and you can do that for free. So Review 360 is also a great option for you to publish your course, and here you're able to publish it with people so that they can leave you feedback. Next we have publish. Publishing your course can be done in different ways. You can do it through Reach 360, which is free. You can do the LMS publishing option where you can track the course completion. You can change it to either SCORM, AICC, XAPI, or CMI5. If you want to add and exit the course link, the other option is web. So if you want to add it to like an AWS, because it's going to be hosted there, you can download that web version and then upload it. And then there is PDF. You can export it as a PDF to share as a handout or as a backup. Now that you know how to build an online course using Articulate Rise 360, make sure you're using all the interactive features on there to make your course more engaging. Use the newest AI features to make the process easier, and always design with accessibility in mind. And you know I can't leave without giving you a personal challenge. So for your challenge after watching this video, pick any topic or any ideas that you wanted to explore and create an online course using Articulate Rise 360. This is a great way for you to play around with the platform, and it also gives you an opportunity to create something that you can add to your portfolio. If you learned something new today, make sure to like, leave a comment below, and also subscribe and share this video with other people who are trying to learn how to use Articulate Rise 360. Again, thank you for tuning in to Summer Experiences. My name is Irene Sidede, and I'll see you in the next video.